Welcome to Against the Tide, the podcast where extraordinary social change makers share their stories and their wisdom. Against the Tide is a celebration of courageous women who create lasting impact by daring to forge their own path. We'll dive deep into powerful themes such as the complexity of identity and how it influences the choices we make, embracing change even when it feels uncomfortable, and how breaking free from labels can unlock your true potential. Join me, Jo Metcalf, to hear stories of incredible women who, by swimming against the tide, prove that extraordinary things can happen. This episode features Elly Nettleton, co-founder of Boost Talent. Welcome, Elly Nettleton, a local business owner who's on a mission to level the playing field in the tech space. Elly is the co-founder of Boost, a business that not only places hidden talent into high-paying tech roles, but reinvests its profits back into the local community. Boost supports young people from marginalised backgrounds into digital careers. Elly, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to talking about why diversity in tech matters and how purpose-driven businesses can create meaningful opportunities, particularly in Leeds. We're going to start with a bit about your background. So you co-founded Boost almost 2 years ago. What made you walk away from a successful recruitment career to start something yourself?
A very interesting question. I think it was one of those things that had been on my mind for years, that I wanted to do it. I was successfully managing, I was MD of another company. So I knew that I could do the job. It was just whether it was worth doing it myself or sticking and working for someone else. And I was in a great opportunity where I'd earned shares in a business. I'd sort of like paid my time, and the business had grown very successfully, but there was always kind of that feeling that, well, why not give it a go yourself? My dad's an entrepreneur. He started a business. My brother is as well. And it kind of just felt that perhaps I should take the leap. So after years, I was holding on until I had my first baby, but I knew that I did want to do it at some point. It just felt like the right time after taking maternity leave that I should put energy into something else and a bit of a new chapter for me. So luckily I managed to talk my co-founder Jermaine into leaving with me. We worked together previously. Okay. And then, so we knew that we worked well together, I think, but joined forces really to start Boost. So yeah, really exciting. And actually hearing you talk about it just makes me so proud. We're still very early in, year and a half into business, but like the purpose behind it and everything, it just like rings throughout the whole business. So
fantastic. And what stopped you before jumping into it?
I probably felt like I was a bit too young, and that timing, I don't know. I started Boost when I was 33, so still quite relatively young. And I think I knew that I wanted a family, and we got married a couple of years before, so it was on the cards. And I think just like I think that's the thing as a woman, isn't it? You have to figure out your timings. Men never have to think of these things. We do. And it just felt like the time was right. I had the confidence. I'd built up all the skill. I should have done it. Hindsight now, I wish I'd done it 4 years earlier, because I spent the past 4 years not learning as much as I could have. So really, but it was just getting the confidence and timing, I guess.
And what gave you the confidence?
Being a mum definitely helped, I think. Like, as soon as I had Miles, I wanted to build something for him and like the legacy around that. So it kind of, I feel like I've got loads of support and strength from family and friends that had so much faith in me doing it. And the confidence of doing it in the past for someone else, the skill, etc. But I think the leap, it's a funny one, isn't it? Like, what really gave me that leap? I think probably motherhood, and like that I needed to grow out a legacy, and that no one else is going to do it for you, and no one's going to give you the opportunity. So I have to do it myself. But yeah, like really, it's one of those times, isn't it? After you have a baby, your confidence is at an all-time low, but also you've got nothing else to live. Like you've got to do it. So yeah, it made sense. Just everything clicked, and it was the right time.
Fantastic. So why did you and your business partner opt for a more values-driven approach in such a tough financial environment?
Yeah, we probably couldn't have launched a recruitment business at a worse time, really. The current market, particularly last year, even COVID was better for us in terms of tech than it has been recently. So we did pick a particularly challenging time to launch a business. But also it just felt right. It was the right time for us personally. And also if you can build a business in a terrible market, then it should succeed in a buoyant one. So you can't put your life on hold and wait for that. You've got to find your own opportunity. And also I think the values piece, it always had to be part of our business. It was sewn in from the roots that we wanted to build something bigger and that we wanted to use what we're good at day to day, which is tech recruitment, working with candidates, helping them find their dream role, working with clients, building out their people strategy. Those things we can do really well. I mean, Jermaine's been doing it 15 years. I've been doing it for over a decade. So those skills we've got in the bag, but it was being able to utilise what we're good at to be able to have a more positive impact on the wider tech ecosystem and to be able to play a part in supporting other individuals' careers and level up, create more opportunities, bridge that digital divide. It has to be done. It needs to be done. And I think we felt that we had the network and the skills and the opportunity to use 5% of our profits to pump back into the tech community. I mean, we're only a year and a half in, so it's still really early days, but to be able to see that impact, there's many things that we're proud of as an organisation and where we're at. We're growing. We're at 7 staff by the end of this month. But actually the impact that we're having on the community, that's what really makes you get up every morning. And that's what we're really proud of. And also our team. I don't think I quite realised when we started with the values-led piece how much of an impact it would have on our staff as well and the pride that they have working for Boost, which is just so nice to see.
Why a values-led business and what does that mean to you?
I think it's just why? Because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? And we've all got to take our own responsibility and ownership for it. So I think the why, it's got to be done. And if you can do it, you should do it. And we can do it. I think if we look back to both myself and Jermaine's background, it's because certain people have given us an opportunity. And perhaps back then we didn't have the credentials or the education, but someone has given us a chance. And I would love to be, and I know Jermaine's exactly the same, the person to give someone else that opportunity. Recruitment is a very interesting career. There's lots of cowboys out there in our industry. And the reason there is because there's a very low barrier of entry. You don't need a particular background to get into it. So a lot of people hear about the opportunities you can create and the wealth you can create off the back of it, and they give it a go, but they do a terrible job of it. And the reason being is because they're focused on the money that you can make at the end of it and not the people that you're supporting and the actual role itself, which is a huge responsibility. You're like pitching people out of one job, which they might be perfectly happy in, and placing them somewhere else. So you need to really be a people first organisation. So I think it was apparent for both of us that we had been given an opportunity and that we want to create the same thing for someone else. And then sewing that through our business, it was relatively easy, really, because I think once it's in your values, then you can sort of continue that throughout the business. In everything we do, I mean, we have quarterly sort of like business days where we all meet, where we take the team out and we sit and we talk about all our values and make sure they're aligned, and are we sticking to what we say we're going to do. And every time, the majority of the day goes back talking about community and impact. It was not really about recruitment at all. We're consultants. Recruitment's part of what we do, and community is another big part. So it does lend itself really well, and it's just it makes it a lot more impactful as well.
Fantastic. And how do you balance this sense of making profit, giving back, and community?
I think it's difficult when you're launching to think about like the time that you want to be able to give things. Like even now, we're still only a year and a half in. and running the business itself takes up a lot of time, but we have to make time for the community piece. The money, I mean, we've said 5% profit, so it's easy to work out what we're going to give each quarter and where we're going to spend it. There's so many places that we can spend it, and so much need out there. But I think the time thing, that's definitely one of the challenges. Would we like to do more? Yes. Will we do more as we grow and we bring in the right people? Definitely. And the team as well, because they want to be spending more time making an impact. But also at some point you've got to realise that there are better placed people out there to be spending the time doing it, and they need our financial help. So it's that blend of, we'd love to do it, and we do go out and speak to people at schools and colleges about careers and opportunities in technology. We mentor. So we spend a lot of time doing that, but equally there is impact that we can have with finances, which is really nice to be able to do that as well.
Definitely. We'll come back to some of that sort of mentoring side in the schools, definitely. But you haven't always been in recruitment, have you? And tell me a bit about the woman that inspired you earlier on in your career.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? My background, I think I was maybe 16 when I left school down in Cornwall, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew that I probably had a bit of personality for sales and people-focused environment. So I had an idea that I would be really good at doing makeup, which I'm not actually that creative, so I don't know where it came from. But I wanted to do like high fashion makeup, so I'd have to move. You can't stay in Cornwall and do that. I was too young at that point to move to London. So there was a beauty school up in Leeds. So I came to Leeds and studied and worked in the beauty industry. And I ended up travelling the world doing beauty for a few years, which was brilliant. And I met a northerner in Bangkok airport, and ended up deciding that we needed to move back here to settle. So I was running the Champagne Nail Bar in Harvey Nichols in Leeds, and a lot of my clients were obviously very wealthy women, a lot of them very successful, and I think that probably was one of the first places that opened my eyes to how much opportunity women can make for themselves. So that definitely sparked something inside of me that actually there's more to be done. And I think at the time I was probably earning about 22 grand and didn't have enough money to put a down payment on a mortgage, but they used to pay me in vouchers. So I had I had a new handbag every month. It was incredible, which is probably what you want when you're that age. But the reality was we wanted to buy a house, and that working in that industry just wasn't going to work for me. So I had a few clients that worked in recruitment, and they were just like, Elly, you should just give it a go. You'd be great at it. And I wasn't sure. I was looking at different types of sales at the time, but actually, earning potential, there was that played a big part into it, but actually selling people rather than a product, that brings a host of challenges with it. But I think if you've got the right people skills, the right personality for it, it is way more rewarding. Helping someone on their career and on their path. I mean, there's been opportunities where the role that I've landed people in is life-changing, not just financially, but being able to put their kids in bed at night or things like that, that to me are just so important that I've played a small part in that journey. And I'm very friendly with the candidates that I've worked with. They state once you've joined that sort of like network, you're in it forever. And like some of the stories that people have gone and how their careers progress, and I've played a very small part in it, but been able to play a part in it, it's just lovely. So it was definitely the right recommendation for me. And I remember when I went for my interview to work in tech recruitment specifically, and was asked the question like, what would earning good money look like to you? And I was like, I think it'd be really good to be earning sort of like 40k. That would be amazing. I mean, this was like 14 years ago now. 13 years ago now. And back then, that felt like that would be a good amount of money. And then once you move into that tech sphere and you realise about like the opportunities that are out there for people, that's why I'm so passionate about like showing others the capabilities and the opportunities to work in digital, because it blew my mind when I learned what you could earn. And when I see other people earn it as well, which makes me so proud to play a part in that. So it was definitely the right move for me.
Brilliant. And you spoke earlier about mentoring, going into schools. Can you tell me a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. So we, as a business, set ourselves a target every quarter of how many individuals we want to support. It's hard to quantify because each day all of our discussions are mentoring people throughout the process. So the amount of people that we've probably had an impact on, it's probably quite hard to measure, but we set a specific target around how many individuals we want to mentor. And they might be, we try and support individuals from like lower socioeconomic backgrounds, or they might have moved to the UK, English isn't their first language, someone that's probably facing a bigger challenge into the job market. And we will support them, we'll guide them, we'll coach them, we'll be honest, which I think is the most important thing. I don't think people are always that honest about the challenges that are ahead of them. It's not an easy job market right now. I mean, I was at a conference I think back end of last year, and someone very senior in tech for one of the biggest banking organisations in the UK was shouting about how many people we need to move into tech. Well, right now we don't. We've got plenty of great people in tech that need opportunity. So I stood up and I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to disagree with you right now, because we do need more people in tech, but we need the opportunities and the jobs there before we start asking. There's plenty of graduates or people that have transitioned into technology that right now we haven't quite got the jobs for. Unfortunately, fingers crossed next year things are going to look better and we will be able to support. But the problem is, as soon as the market isn't great, the first jobs that grow are trainee, junior, apprenticeship roles. And they just have such a big impact on future pipeline. We also make sure we do a commitment around supporting schools. So whether that's going in and chatting about careers, which is always, if you've not done it before, you need to do it, because being able to speak to year 4s, year 5 about what you do is always just so much fun. Or what we've got intentions to do now is to pay for school trips for some schools, inner city schools in Leeds, that whether it will be a STEM museum, and then we get some speakers from some technology businesses about what they do for a living, just to inspire something a little bit different. But it's always quite interesting. I was at a school in Leeds earlier this year, and all the questions I had from all the girls were, how are you a mum, and how do you own a business? And it wasn't even about what I did. It was like just that the two things together can't be done. Which is just so scary to think at even year 4, year 5 that you're already limiting yourself. But that's what we do. So you've got to have role models in front of you showing you opportunities. I was just like, it's easy to set up a business. You can do it as a mum, and just trying to really encourage the girls to probably think bigger about it. But yeah, it was very sad to hear, but then also nice to know that you are sort of teaching them slightly that there is opportunity out there.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
That I need to do more of it. that more of us need to be doing it, and that we've got to be that example. Because I don't remember having that at school. I remember my dad came into my school when I was in year 4 actually, and spoke about his business, and it was amazing. And I remember that feeling of how proud of him I was back then. But I can't remember that many women coming in. I remember the policeman, the fireman, the doctor, but I just can't remember women coming in talking about their jobs, and definitely had no idea about opportunities in technology. That was never even on the cards or even a discussion back then. So I think it's really important, particularly because tech can be more inclusive. It's not just the role of a developer sat downstairs in a basement coding all day in the dark. That's not tech. That's just one very small part of it. So I think being open about the different character types and the different roles is very important. So I'm always happy to speak about it.
That sounds really inspiring. Thank you. So let's talk about the tech industry in more detail. What do you see as the biggest barriers keeping young people from marginalised backgrounds out of the sector?
Access to technology. I mean, it was very clear during COVID, not enough children are connected. There's not enough Wi-Fi, people that are connected online, the Wi-Fi, laptops, access. If you haven't got the access, you've got no hope in hell of even starting a career. I think more transparency around the opportunities and breaking down those barriers is very important. Role models, visibility, but it's got to be the access initially to be able to even incite that interest, hasn't it? Unless you've unless you've learned about what the art of what is, then yeah, you've got no hope. But I think if we can start early, ensure access, the digital divide is real, whether it be young people, old people. It is very clear that we need to do more about it. But I think like the opportunity you read online about 15-year-olds building these AI businesses, it can be done in a library, but kids need to know that they can go into the library, that they've got access, they can go any time of day, they've got somewhere safe to go, and start there. But I think if we can do more about giving access, then that will certainly help.
And who needs to play a role in that?
Oh, who doesn't? I think we've all got to take some ownership and responsibility for it. Leeds is incredible, actually, the tech ecosystem for taking ownership. The businesses, a lot of, whether it be the startups, enterprise businesses, they do put funding to it. Less now than I think we had pre-COVID, because everyone's had to cut back, and it's one of the first places that will be cut back and is cut back, sadly. But over the years, there is some brilliant people around here that give time and money to supporting individuals to gain access. But there's more that's got to be done. We've all got to take on our ownership. And then obviously from a political standpoint, like it needs to be taken more seriously. I know the Digital Skills Gap, West Yorkshire Combined Authority are putting some real headway around that and supporting. But there's always more that can be done.
Yeah, definitely. So you've got a 2-year-old and a baby on the way. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
What do you want your children to see when they look back at women leading business?
Proud, obviously, is the first thing. Really proud of their mama. I think it needs to just be instilled in them that it's possible from day one, and that everyone that they meet, that they also pass that on, that it's like capable. So that sort of like equitable vision is really important for me, that they see that, and they're brought up with that inclusive mindset that we all should have the opportunity. Like my boy, he's a feminist already, like it is in him, he knows. So I think it's just important as a mum that I bring them up knowing the art of what is possible, and then passing it on when and where they can, being proud of their mum and what she's done. But then also it's just a platform. The idea of being a parent to me is just building out a legacy to help it and make it easier for the next generation. And that's not just my kids. Like that is my responsibility to do that locally as an entrepreneur. So just to make it easier for everyone else to get there. So yeah, being able to do that for my children is going to be really important.
And what are the particular challenges for women in the tech space?
Where to start? It's so where the challenges are, even in like, you got to go back to school, the access, it's still, even like the culture around technology, it still does lead more men into technology. We need to open up those doors early. Women don't need to be forced into caring roles, and we shouldn't be forced into caring roles at home. The divide, parental split. I mean, there's so many areas that women are already at such a disadvantage that we need allies, male allies, to be able to recognise that. And it's when you go to events and you'll hear someone, I'm doing it because of my daughters. That's great, but if you'd have started this 20 years ago, how many other women could we have impacted? So you've got to think holistically. And that's where I think, like, my son Miles is 2, but I want him doing that when he's 13, 14, 15. The next generation, I think the mindset they've got is so much bigger than ours was. And I think we've got a huge opportunity with that to start things earlier on, to have less of an negative impact longer term. But it is everyone's responsibility to be able to support that. And I take it very seriously. But I mean, I see it day to day, the amount of women that I'll ring up about opportunities, leadership opportunities, C-suite opportunities. I don't like to put someone in a role that they're already doing. So it's my job, and I'm very clear with clients when they work with me, is that I'm going to find someone that can level up to this role and exceed it very quickly, and then move up to the next opportunity. Like moving someone who's been doing that job for 5 years into the job you've got right now is not what I'm here to do, really. That's quite boring work, and it's not really for me. I like to pick individuals who have got the scope and the potential, and they will make an incredible impact to your business, but it's an investment from both parties. So when I ring up individuals and I speak to them about, or meet with them and chat to them about opportunities, quite often the first thing a woman will say is, no, I can't do it, or it's the fear of the no and the rejection, and they'll be quite willing to back out at that point. So it's my job to really coach individuals through it, empower them. If I've got faith in you, I'm only going to put you in front of my client if I think that you can do the job with your eyes closed and excel in it. Otherwise, I'm not going to look good in front of my client. So if I've got faith in people, it's just trying to empower individuals to then have that faith in themselves. But it's so common that we will say no straight away. Whereas I don't think men quite have the same complex. We doubt ourselves before we've even had the conversation. Or why not find out more about the role? Why not read the job description? Why not have a coffee chat with the hiring manager? And if I've got the confidence, then you should definitely have the confidence in yourself. So working on that. And I'm always very clear in, like, I'll turn the conversation around. Would you say that to your friend if your friend was going to apply for this job? Because we are so easy to doubt ourselves, but the way that our internal dialogue is always negative. Whereas if you were chatting to your best friend, what would you say then? And how would you empower them and be positive about the opportunity? So yeah, I always try and turn it around slightly to try and make people think of it differently. But whenever I ring people, they always say, I'm not looking, I'm not interested right now. And it's like, well, let's just have a chat. Hey, let's just find out a bit more. You should never be closed off to opportunity. You should never say no. And if you are, you're limiting yourself already, which just, it's crazy. We need to be open-minded, speak to people. What is the worst that's going to happen? What is the worst that's going to happen if you put yourself forward for a job, a promotion, and you don't get it? Well, the worst that's going to happen is they're going to know you're interested in progressing your career. That is it.
Fantastic. Why do you think women doubt themselves more than men?
Unfortunately, I think it's embedded in us from a very young age, very early on, slipped into those caring roles, the babies, the prams, and that kind of responsibility from day one doubts us. It almost pulls us out of, blokes get given construction and tools to fix things, and we don't quite get that from very early on. So I think from the very beginning it is set out our gender roles, and I think anything outside of that feels very uncomfortable. We are very scared to hear no, and to that kind of, the fear around it is not worth the risk. I think it's a risk based and comfort, and I think the combination of the two means that unfortunately women just don't take the risk and put themselves out there and make themselves uncomfortable. So that is why it's so important to get comfortable with the uncomfortable as early as you can. And I think if we can teach kids that very early on, it will help them to stop putting up them barriers themselves, because it is all internal. And I mean, you hear it from others, you decide which bits you want to listen to and which bits you want to carry with you. But I think if you build the barriers up yourself, it's very hard to break them back down.
I get the sense that you champion others, and does doubt play a role in your life in any way?
So much so, all the time, like all the time that I come from a family who the sun shines out of every angle of me, like that. They are my biggest fans. I couldn't have it'd probably be a bit weird if my family were any more supportive than they were. So I've got, from day one, I've had confidence embedded in me, and I still doubt myself, and it's that self-belief, isn't it? But then also I do value the sort of like growth journey, and I kind of, that uncomfortable, and they say getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, you have to do it, don't you? And it becomes, the more you do it, the less painful and uncomfortable it gets, and the more exciting it actually becomes. So yes, I have limiting beliefs all the time. I don't even know really if I'm an extroverted person. Am I really a confident person? I don't, probably sounds like to everyone I am. I don't know. I still doubt myself. I don't doubt my potential, I guess. I just doubt the current, that feeling that it gives you maybe. But then I look at like your track record and the confidence everyone else has in you and the belief that everyone else gives you, and think, actually, yeah, sod it. If everyone else has got that opportunity, why shouldn't I? Why am I not deserving of it? And I try and speak to myself how my best friends speak to me, because I've got the most incredible set of friends who are my biggest fans as well, and having that support network, which is so important. And that's what I've really been trying to do. I do a lot around like senior women in tech and building out communities, because the power of having the right women behind you, supporting you and advocating for you, cheering you along through the uncomfortable, through the failure, that is magic. And I think that female energy that we get when we support each other, it is unmatched. So I think if we can do as much of that as we can, then only good things can come from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Why I'm doing the podcast.
Yes.
Indeed,
yeah, I love it.
So you've spoken about how women often help others but struggle to ask for help themselves. What's your message to women who hold themselves back from opportunity?
It's really interesting you asked that about asking help for others, because my therapist says that I never ask help from other people. So it's really interesting to then say there's an exact copy of like how do we do that? How do we advocate for that? I guess making it okay, making it acceptable. Like, you don't have to. I think the perfectionism, the screen of perfectionism, is something I'm trying to break down. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to be perfect. We can make mistakes, and if we all are a bit more open about that, I feel like other people, that would bring down that barrier. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
That I think we've been brought up in a world where like only perfect women are successful, and that there's a look to it and there's a feel to it, and that's not true. The more women you meet, and the more successful people you meet, the more you realise everyone's bloody winging it. So I think if we can get more exposure to that and more understanding that we are just human, let's put more of that human element into it, then that would help others, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for sharing about having therapy. Is that something that you're happy to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, it's a really like recent journey that I've been on, that I think when I started Boost, that I was like, to be better, I need to be better, and I need to look at myself. And I think the confidence thing was a big part of it, that there was like a need to build on myself, because I'm so happy to give others time, and that actually that giving myself time would be a real luxury, and giving myself the capacity to think about me is a bit like, oh, that's a bit rogue to me, because I'm very interested in supporting others, but give myself a minute, and that feels a bit painful. So yeah, like I highly recommend giving yourself the shot to give it a go, because it's the impact, and from a business perspective, like, it made me more holistic, and I feel like I'm able to. I've always been quite an empathetic leader, but I think it's given me a whole new angle and a new understanding of myself, which is good.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Finally, what are your hopes for the future, for yourself and for your clients?
A hugely successful business, incredibly successful clients. Like, I always think with my clients, my job is to make you more successful by pairing you with the right people. But also, like, once you work with me, I'm your biggest advocate, because I want you to be successful. So any opportunity to sing about your brand, I will do it. So I feel like hugely successful clients, hugely successful Boost, where we have the opportunity to bring in the best. I mean, like, the starting team that we've got at Boost is already very impressive. The 7 of us already. I think we'll probably be, by the time next year, at least 10 plus, but it will be like the right players, and they are A players. And that is hard to find in recruitment. But I think we set, one of our values is excellence, and we set that precedence from day one. We are not going to budge on that. So it needs to be the right people, but continuing that. I'd love to be in a position next year where we can start looking at like apprenticeships and how we might be able to support other individuals and give people the opportunity that we've had. That's on the agenda. Continue the community, expand on that. I mean, a lot of the work we're doing is locally. Keep doing more of that. We love Leeds. We're very proud to be a Leeds-based business. it's a great city to be in, and we think that there's more to be done. So we'd love to help that, and continue the day-to-day support of others as well. Like if I took myself too far away from the day job of being a recruiter, then I wouldn't get the value I get from that, and the inspiration that I get from that. So continue doing that. And then once I'm financially in a position, I'd love to support other female-owned businesses. So angel investing and looking at how I might be able to make more of an impact. Locally, it might be someone who just needs 10 grand to get started or something, or what it might look like, I'm not sure. Further down the line, I want my own tech business. So I'd love a product based rather than a service. But I've got a long way to go. I've got another baby on the way.
Watch out, Will.
I know, there's a lot of work to be done there, isn't there? Transport is going, bring it all down. But yeah, this is just the start.
Fantastic. Yeah, watch out, world. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that conversation.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm no doubt that you won't succeed and achieve what you want to achieve. And good luck with everything with Boost. Thanks for listening to Against the Tide, brought to you by Joe Metcalf and Louise Kavanagh. We're grateful to the team at Sticks and Glass in Leeds and Bison Studios in London, our inspiring guests and wonderful listeners. Subscribe to Against the Tide wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode.